My name is Hana, and for most of my life, I thought I was free. I grew up in a very religious Christian family in Asia. My father served in the church. My mother organized activities. And every Sunday we sat in the same wooden pew, singing the same hymns. I believed in God in a general way, but religion to me was mostly routine. Stand up, sit down, pray, go home. I knew the words, but they never really reached my heart. What did reach my heart from a very young age was beauty. People always told me I was pretty. At first, it was just innocent compliments from relatives. But when I became a teenager, my appearance slowly turned into my identity. Teachers told me I should try modeling. Friends pushed me to open social media accounts. Strangers commented on my photos. Every like and compliment became a small dose of happiness. By the time I was in university, I was working as a part-time model. At first, it felt like a dream. Free clothes, professional makeup, photo shoots in fancy locations. I loved the lights, the cameras, the attention. Brands wanted me in their campaigns. Photographers told me, "You have the perfect face." Agencies told me, "If you lose just a little more weight, you could be huge." That little more weight became an obsession. I weighed myself every morning and every night. I skipped meals. I stared in the mirror and learned to see flaws in every part of my body. If I gained even half a kilo, I felt like a failure. My worth was shrinking to a number on a scale, and the size of my clothes. What nobody saw was what happened after the camera turned off. I remember one photo shoot very clearly. I was standing under bright lights, wearing clothes that made me feel almost naked. The photographer kept saying, more sexy, more open, more free. I smiled, moved, posed like they wanted. Everyone said I was amazing. When I walked back into the changing room, I closed the door, sat on the floor, and started crying quietly so no one could hear. I looked at myself in the mirror with smudged makeup and tired eyes. And I thought, is this what freedom looks like? Why do I feel like a product on a shelf? At church, I didn't find answers. I found good people, kind people, but not answers to the questions that were eating me from inside. Why am I alive? Why am I so empty when I have what many girls dream of? Why does my value depend on how much skin I show? I started to live a double life. Online and in public, confident, glamorous, happy. In private, anxious, insecure, and increasingly disgusted with myself. I tried partying. I tried relationships. I tried buying things I didn't need. The more I tried to fill the emptiness, the deeper it became. Islam was the last place I expected to find anything. In my mind, Islam was strict, oppressive, especially for women. I only knew what I saw in the media. Women covered from head to toe, rules, punishments, terrorism, war. I never thought about it deeply. I just accepted that narrative and moved on. Then, in one university class, I met a girl who changed everything. Her name was Aisha. She wore a simple hijab, long clothes, no obvious makeup. In a class full of people trying to stand out, she was completely not trying, and yet, she stood out to me. She was calm, confident, and somehow comfortable in her own skin in a way I had never seen before. One day, we had a group project and ended up working together. At lunch, my modeling came up in conversation. Everyone was impressed, asking questions, wanting to see my Instagram. Except her. She smiled politely, but she didn't seem impressed at all. I noticed it, and it bothered me. "Don't you think it's cool?" I asked her, half joking. "Travel, photo shoots, fashion." She looked at me gently and said, "It sounds difficult." "Difficult?" I laughed. "It's fun." She smiled again, this time a little sadly. "You're always being watched, judged, evaluated by everyone. That's heavy." Her words hit me like a stone. How did she see what I was hiding so well? After that, I couldn't stop observing her. I noticed she refused some invitations to parties and some activities that went against her beliefs. Once, someone from a promotion company came to class looking for pretty girls for a product campaign. Several girls, including me, were excited. When they asked Aisha, she politely refused. They tried to convince her, talking about money and exposure, but she just said, "No, thank you." No hesitation. Later, when we were alone, I asked her, "Why did you say no? It's good money. Easy work." She looked at me and said, "Money is not enough for me to sell my dignity." Her words made me uncomfortable and defensive. "Sell your dignity? It's just advertising." She answered quietly, "When strangers look at my body, when I am used to sell a product, I feel like I'm not a human being anymore. In my faith, I want to be a servant of God, not a product for people." A servant of God. In my head, that sounded like slavery. "Isn't that slavery?" I asked. "You follow rules. You cover your hair. You can't do what you want. How is that freedom?" She smiled, and I will never forget this answer. Everyone is a servant of something, Hana. Some people serve money. Some serve beauty. Some serve the opinions of others. At least when I serve God, I know I'm serving the one who created me and loves me. That is freedom for me. I didn't have a reply. That night, I lay in bed and thought about her words. Some serve beauty. Some serve the opinions of others. I realized she had described my entire life. Everything I did was for the eyes of other people. Every pose, every picture, every diet, every piece of clothing. I was always asking, do they like me? Am I enough? Am I still beautiful? I thought I was free because I could wear anything I wanted. But in reality, I was wearing what other people wanted to see. Curiosity pushed me to search, why do women wear hijab on the internet? I expected to find oppression, forced rules, sad stories. Instead, I found women saying, hijab gave me freedom from being judged for my body. I am more than my looks. I dress for God, not for men. It was so opposite to everything I had learned. I felt almost angry. Why had no one told me this perspective before? I began to secretly watch videos of women who left modeling or nightlife after becoming Muslim. Their words sounded like my thoughts, spoken out loud. The emptiness, the depression, the feeling of being an object. And then the peace they found when they covered, prayed, and connected with their creator. I didn't tell anyone what I was watching. It felt like I was betraying my family and everything I grew up with. But something inside me was waking up. The turning point came during one particular photo shoot. The concept was bold and fearless. In reality, it meant less clothing, more skin, more provocative poses. When the stylist handed me the outfit, I felt a knot in my stomach. It was more revealing than anything I had worn before. "You'll look amazing," she said. "This will be huge for your career." I went to the dressing room, held the clothes in my hands, and suddenly I felt tired. Tired of performing. Tired of pretending I was fine. Tired of sacrificing my dignity for someone else's idea of beauty. I put on the clothes anyway. I walked onto the set. The photographer started giving instructions. Turn your body more. Arch your back. Look at the camera like you're in love with it. As I did what he said, something inside me broke. I felt like I was leaving myself behind, piece by piece, in every photo. In a break between shots, I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the person staring back. She was pretty, yes. She fit the standard, yes. But her eyes were empty. I remember whispering, "Who are you?" Right there, in that bathroom, I did something I hadn't done in years. I spoke to God honestly. I didn't say a formal prayer. I just looked up, with mascara smudged around my eyes, and said, God, if you are there, if you can hear me, please, take me out of this life. I don't know where to go. I don't know what's right. But I know this can't be it. I went back, finished the shoot like a machine, and went home feeling like a shell. A few days later, I received a message from Aisha. Hey Hana, there is an event this weekend at the Islamic Center. Just an introduction to Islam for non-Muslims. No pressure, just listening and asking questions. Would you like to come? I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me was scared. What would people think? What would my parents say? Another part of me remembered my prayer in the bathroom. God, take me out of this life. Was this an answer? My fingers typed before my fears could stop me. Yes, I'll come. The Islamic Center was small but peaceful. People greeted me kindly, but not in a forced way. No one stared at my clothes, my makeup, or my appearance. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe. They spoke about basic beliefs, that there is only one God, not a man, not part of a trinity, but the creator of everything. That he has no partners, no children. That he sent messengers like Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and finally Muhammad. Peace be upon them all. That life is a test, and we will return to him. I was surprised by how familiar some of it felt, but also by how clear and simple it was. One God, one message. Submit to him alone. I asked many questions about Jesus, about women, about hijab, about marriage, about punishment. I was waiting to find something that would make me run away, but every time I asked, the answers didn't push me away. They pulled me closer. When I asked, why does Islam have so many rules? The teacher looked at me and said, if you bought a very expensive device, you would want the instruction manual from the manufacturer, right? You wouldn't just guess and risk breaking it. Your soul is more valuable than any device. The rules are from the one who created you. They are not to limit you, but to protect you. I thought about all the freedom I had used to hurt myself. My freedom to starve myself. My freedom to take off more clothes. My freedom to be used by companies and strangers. Had my freedom really protected me? Weeks passed. I kept attending, reading, watching, asking. Islam was no longer a strange, scary religion in the news. It became a mirror, showing me parts of myself I had never seen clearly. I began to feel two lives pulling me in opposite directions. The life of Hana the model, always online, always smiling, always hungry, always judged, and another life I could almost see in the distance. Hana, the servant of God, covered, respected, at peace. One night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. I got out of bed, sat on the floor, and whispered again, God, I don't want to pretend anymore. If Islam is the truth, please put it in my heart clearly. I'm scared. I don't want to disappoint my family. I don't want to lose everything. But I don't want to lose you. Days later, I went back to the Islamic Center. This time, I didn't go to attend a lecture. I went because I knew my heart had already crossed a line. I told the teacher, I believe that God is one. I believe Muhammad is his messenger. I believe this is the truth, but I'm scared. She smiled gently and said, fear is normal. Every big step in life comes with fear. But ask yourself, are you more afraid of people or of meeting God without having followed the truth you recognized? Her words shook me. They asked if I wanted to say the testimony of faith, the Shahada. My heart started beating so fast I thought everyone could hear it. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, about to jump, not into darkness, but into light I had never experienced. I repeated after her, in Arabic, then in my language. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulallah. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. As the words left my tongue, I felt something heavy leave my chest. I started crying, not the quiet tears of the dressing room, but deep, uncontrollable tears. It was as if all the years of empty searching, all the nights of self-hate, all the pain of being an object were being washed away. In that moment, I didn't feel like a model. I didn't feel like a product. I felt like a human being, standing in front of her creator, known, seen, and forgiven. My journey after that was not easy. My parents were confused, hurt, even angry at first. They couldn't understand why I would leave their faith. Some friends disappeared when I started dressing more modestly. My agency didn't know what to do with me when I refused certain jobs and outfits. But for every difficulty, there was a new kind of strength inside me. When I wore the hijab for the first time, I stood in front of the mirror and expected to feel ugly, less restricted. Instead, I felt safe. For the first time, my body was not for sale. My hair was not for the public. My smile was not a product. I walked outside, and people's eyes were different. Some stared in confusion, some in curiosity, some in disapproval. But it didn't matter as much anymore, because I knew that the one who truly mattered was already pleased with the step I had taken. I quit certain modeling jobs completely. I let go of opportunities that would have made me more famous, more rich, more seen. People told me I was crazy. But inside, I felt something I had never felt before: peace. Now, when I stand on a prayer mat instead of a runway, when I bow my head to the ground instead of to a camera, I know I did not lose my freedom. I finally found it. I used to live as a slave to the camera, the mirror, and the opinions of strangers. Today, I choose to live as a servant of Allah. And in that servitude, I discovered the sweetest, truest freedom I ever tasted.